As the marketplace filled to the brim, merchants and slaves began trading with the blessings of the morning. In the distance, within Mount Vesuvius, a silent awakening had begun. A deep rumble rising from beneath the ground stirred curiosity and fear among the people. Suddenly, the sky darkened with a massive cloud of smoke. Panic spread through the streets as everyone ran in different directions. Lava erupting from the mountain turned the sky into fire. Some rushed to the temples to beg the gods for mercy. The smoke became unbearable to breathe, and the streets fell into darkness and deadly silence. The city's escape routes began to close under streams of lava. Ash began to fall from the sky, covering everything with a gray shroud. A family hid in the basement of their home, waiting for salvation. The lava crossed the city walls and reached the streets. Priests offered their final prayers before silence descended. At the moment the sun disappeared, Pompeii was completely swallowed by darkness. The ashes quietly covered even the last breaths of the people. In that moment, time itself stopped for Pompeii. Centuries later, archaeologists brought these frozen moments back to light. With every excavation, the echoes of the past could still be heard. The ruins whispered stories of lives interrupted, of voices silenced in fire and ash. Today, Pompeii stands as a timeless witness, a city frozen between life and eternity. In the summer of 1947, the quiet desert of New Mexico witnessed something extraordinary. A blinding light split the night sky, and silence fell over Roswell. The next morning, a local rancher stumbled upon strange metallic debris scattered across his land. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, light, flexible, yet unbreakable. When he reported the find to the local sheriff, the story quickly reached the nearby military base. Soldiers were dispatched immediately to secure the area. Soon, the U.S. Army issued an astonishing statement. They had recovered a flying disc. Newspapers printed the headline that would change history forever. But within hours, the story was retracted. The military claimed it was merely a weather balloon. Confusion spread across the nation. Whispers began to circulate. Witnesses described seeing strange bodies, small and gray, with large eyes and delicate hands. Fear turned into fascination. Roswell became a magnet for mystery. Scientists, journalists, and curious minds all descended upon the desert town seeking the truth. Locals reported seeing convoys of trucks leaving the site at night, covered in tarps, heading toward the secret base known as Area 51. Rumors of government cover-ups deepened. What was once a simple story of wreckage became a symbol of secrecy and power. By the 1950s, Roswell had transformed into the epicenter of UFO culture, inspiring books, films, and endless speculation. Decades later, declassified documents hinted that something unusual did occur, but what exactly remains buried in shadows. Witnesses who once stayed silent began to speak. Former military officers claimed the debris was not of this world. Some showed sketches of the mysterious craft, smooth, seamless, metallic, reflecting no rivets or seams, like it was grown, not built. Others described strange materials that returned to their original shape, no matter how hard they were bent or burned. Scientists today still cannot fully explain what crashed that night. The evidence was removed, the witnesses silenced, and the truth hidden. Yet the memory of that desert night lingers. It calls to dreamers, skeptics, and believers alike. Roswell stands as a monument, not to what we know, but to what we don't. Every July, people gather under the same desert sky, searching for answers, for light, for meaning. And as stars glimmer over Roswell, one question echoes through time. Were we truly alone that night? It was the dawn of a new century, an age of ambition and marvels of steel, and among them rose one ship above all others, Titanic, the unsinkable dream. Built in Belfast, She was a triumph of human engineering, vast, elegant, and filled with hope. The pride of an age that believed nothing was impossible. On April 10, 1912, she set sail from Southampton, bound for New York, carrying more than 2,000 souls and the promise of a new life. The first days were filled with laughter and wonder. The rich dined beneath crystal chandeliers, while families below deck dreamed of America's open skies. Captain Edward Smith stood upon the bridge, calm and confident. His ship, they said, was the safest ever built. But the Atlantic was vast and cold, and fate was already waiting beyond the horizon. On the night of April 14th, as the stars burned bright, warnings of ice drifted through the air, yet Titanic pressed on, her engines steady and proud. Then, at 11:40 p.m., a shudder tore through her hull. Ice ripped open her side like paper. The unsinkable had been struck. Panic spread through the decks. Confusion, disbelief, and fear. The orchestra played to calm trembling hearts. Women and children filled the lifeboats while husbands and fathers stayed behind, watching the lights of the ship fade into chaos. Jack Phillips, the wireless operator, tapped out desperate messages into the night. CQD, SOS, hoping someone would answer. Nearby, the Californian slept, its radio silent. But the Carpathia was racing through the darkness, drawn by cries across the sea. As the bow dipped lower, the Titanic's lights flickered. People clung to rails, praying, weeping, facing the impossible. At 2:20 a.m., the great ship rose, broke apart, and slipped beneath the black ocean, taking over 1,500 souls into eternity. Silence fell across the Atlantic, a silence heavy with sorrow and disbelief. When dawn came, the sea was calm again. Lifeboats drifted among floating debris, toys, hats, and dreams lost to the deep. The Carpathia arrived, pulling the weary and frozen from the water, their eyes empty, their hearts forever changed. News spread across the world. Disbelief turned to grief. The ship that could not sink had become a symbol of human frailty. From that night on, the world would never look at progress the same way again. The Titanic rests now in darkness, 2 miles beneath the waves, a monument to hope, tragedy, and the fragile heart of humanity. Whitechapel, London. The year is 1888, a city veiled in fog and fear, where poverty and desperation haunt every corner. Dark alleys whisper secrets that polite society dares not hear. Women walk the narrow streets, their eyes searching for safety that will never come. The smell of smoke and cheap gin fills the night air, mingling with the echo of horse hooves on cobblestones. In this shadowed world, evil finds its perfect stage. A figure emerges from the mist, unseen, unnamed, unstoppable. He will be remembered only by the name given to him by the press, Jack the Ripper. His first victim, Mary Ann Nichols, is found in Buck's Row, her life brutally taken. The people of Whitechapel awaken to terror unlike anything they've known. Police swarm the streets, lanterns flickering against damp brick walls. But every clue leads only to confusion. Every shadow hides a suspect. Fear spreads faster than the fog, gripping London's heart. Another victim, then another. The killings grow more violent, more precise. Letters arrive at the police, signed with chilling confidence. From hell. The city begins to unravel. Journalists turn the murders into legend. Every man becomes a suspect, every woman a potential victim. In the end, the killer vanishes as mysteriously as he appeared. The streets grow silent again, but the fear never leaves. Over a century later, his name still echoes. A ghost in London's fog. Jack the Ripper, a mystery that refuses to die. The wind whispers across the Aegean Sea, carrying with it the echoes of destiny. On distant shores, 2 great powers prepare for a war that will shape legends. It began with a love that defied kingdoms. Paris of Troy, and Helen of Sparta. Their union, born of passion, would soon ignite a storm of vengeance. The Greeks gathered under King Agamemnon, driven by pride and the call of honor. 1,000 ships set sail toward the walls of Troy, the largest fleet the world had ever seen. As dawn broke over the sea, the warriors beheld the towering citadel, Troy, golden and unyielding, its walls glimmering in the morning sun. Inside, King Priam ruled with wisdom, unaware that fate had already marked his city for ruin. The first battles were fierce and merciless. The clang of bronze filled the air as swords met shields, and heroes carved their names into eternity. Among them, Achilles, swift, unstoppable, touched by the gods, yet bound by human rage. Across the battlefield stood Hector, Troy's noble defender, a man of courage and duty, beloved by his people. Their duel was destined, the meeting of strength and honor beneath the burning sky. When Hector fell, the heart of Troy broke with him. Grief swept the city like a cold wind. Achilles, triumphant yet empty, dragged Hector's body around the walls, a gesture that angered both gods and men. But even Achilles could not escape fate. From the shadows came Paris's arrow, guided by Apollo, striking the hero's mortal heel. As years passed, both sides bled, neither yielding, until Odysseus conceived a cunning plan that would seal Troy's fate forever. The wooden horse stood before the gates, a gift of deceit, silent, majestic, and filled with hidden warriors. That night, the Trojans celebrated their false victory, their laughter echoing through the city's streets. But when the stars dimmed and silence fell, the Greeks emerged from within the horse, blades gleaming in the dark. Flames consumed Troy, temples, palaces, and dreams turning to ash beneath a crimson sky. King Priam met his end among the ruins, his kingdom lost, but his legacy eternal. At dawn, only smoke remained. The sea carried away the cries of the fallen, and the age of heroes came to its tragic close. Yet from its ashes, stories were born, tales that would echo through time, reminding humanity of love, pride, and destiny's unbroken chain. The year is 30 BC. Alexandria, the jewel of Egypt, once vibrant and powerful, now teeters on the edge of destruction. Queen Cleopatra, last of the Ptolemaic dynasty, walks the halls of her palace, aware that her reign is ending. The Roman legions of Octavian surround the city, their banners casting shadows over marble streets. Inside the palace, advisors whisper, strategies falter, and hope begins to fade. Cleopatra meets Mark Antony one final time, their love and political alliance intertwined with tragedy. The clash of empires echoes beyond the walls as battles rage along the Nile and beyond. Mark Antony falls in combat, his life ending amidst chaos and despair. Cleopatra mourns but remains resolute, determined to control her fate in a world dominated by Rome. She sends messages to Octavian, negotiating terms, yet the shadow of conquest looms. The city grows tense. Citizens watch as the walls tremble and the enemy advances. Cleopatra prepares her chambers, adorning herself in royal splendor, facing destiny with grace and courage. Her loyal servants attend to her, knowing that history is about to be written in blood and legacy. A serpent, the asp, becomes her instrument of choice. Death as defiance, a symbol of Egyptian sovereignty. The palace is silent except for whispers and the distant march of Roman soldiers. Cleopatra embraces her fate, the asp biting, and the queen falls, ending an era. Rome claims Egypt. Yet the legend of Cleopatra transcends time, immortalized in art and story. Her life, love, and cunning echo through history, a testament to power and fragility alike. Alexandria, once bustling with life, becomes a city mourning the loss of its queen and independence. Even centuries later, scholars and poets recount her tale, a queen who dared to challenge an empire. Cleopatra's end marks the close of ancient Egypt, yet her story remains eternal, a legend beyond death. World War II was fought not only on the battlefield, but also in shadows, in secret laboratories, hidden bunkers, and silent corridors of power. Nations raced against time, each seeking technological advantage that could tip the scales of war. From the skies above to the depths beneath the oceans, scientists and engineers worked in utmost secrecy. Weapons of unprecedented power were conceived, some beyond imagination, some terrifyingly real. The Allies and Axis powers alike pursued coded messages, invisible spies, and experimental machines. In laboratories lit by flickering lamps, brilliant minds toiled over jet engines, rockets, and chemical experiments. Submarines and stealth vessels were designed to evade detection, carrying secrets beneath icy waters. Top-secret aircraft projects soared above enemy lines, testing new speeds, altitudes, and designs. Encrypted communications and mysterious devices determined the success of countless missions. Each discovery could mean victory or catastrophe, often blurred between genius and madness. Espionage missions crossed continents, with spies infiltrating enemy territories, gathering intelligence at perilous risk. Experimental bombs, advanced radar systems, and secret propulsion technologies reshaped the notion of warfare. Teams worked in underground bunkers, hidden from the eyes of civilians, as history itself was written in secrecy. Some projects were successes, altering the course of battles. Others failed, leaving only shadows in the archives. Innovation was driven by necessity, fear, and the unyielding pressure of war. Ethical boundaries blurred as scientists confronted the terrifying potential of their creations. After the war, many of these secret projects were revealed, astounding the world with ingenuity and danger. Blueprints, photographs, and declassified documents tell stories of courage, deception, and human ambition. The hidden war reminds us that innovation often grows in darkness, and the most powerful tools can emerge from secrecy. Even today, the legacy of World War II's secret projects shapes modern technology and military strategy. April 26, 1986. Pripyat, Ukraine, a quiet town surrounded by forests, rivers, and the hum of everyday life. Life went on as usual. Children played, workers laughed, and families dreamed of the future. At the heart of the town stood reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a symbol of Soviet ambition and technological prowess. Inside the control room, engineers prepared for a routine safety test, unaware of the chain of events about to unfold. At 1:23 a.m., an unexpected surge ripped through the reactor core, igniting a catastrophic explosion. Flames shot into the night sky, and a deadly cloud of radioactive smoke began to spread over Pripyat and beyond. Firefighters rushed to the scene, their bravery shadowed by ignorance of the invisible enemy they faced. Evacuation orders were delayed. Families remained in their homes, breathing the air that would haunt them for decades. Radiation crept silently, invisible yet deadly, seeping into the soil, water, and air. The city's landscape transformed overnight. Once vibrant streets, now eerie, abandoned, and radioactive. Animals fled or succumbed, forests and rivers bore the first signs of the invisible poison. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, often risking their lives, trying to contain the meltdown. Liquidators in protective suits poured sand and boron over the reactor, their courage masking the lethal exposure around them. Entire villages were abandoned, homes, schools, and playgrounds frozen in time, a ghostly testament to human vulnerability. International alarms sounded as the cloud reached borders, spreading fear across Europe. Years later, health crises emerged. cancers, mutations, and lifelong consequences for those exposed. Nature slowly reclaimed the zone, yet reminders of the disaster linger in ruins and radiation readings. Chernobyl became a symbol of human error, ambition, and the terrifying power of nuclear energy. Even decades later, the land tells the story, silent, haunting, and unforgettable. The disaster of 1986 reminds us that progress carries both promise and peril, and the past is never truly buried. Long before history began, long before the first cities rose, there was a place spoken of only in whispers, Atlantis. It was said to be a realm of beauty and knowledge, where marble towers touched the clouds and crystal waters glowed beneath golden domes. The people of Atlantis were wise and powerful, mastering the seas and the stars, blending science and spirit in perfect harmony. They lived in peace, guided by justice and virtue under the protection of Poseidon, god of the deep. But as centuries passed, pride began to replace wisdom, and desire for power grew stronger than devotion to truth. The Atlanteans built weapons that could shake the earth, forgetting the divine balance that had sustained them. The gods watched with sorrow as arrogance consumed their creation and judgment approached like a storm. One fateful night, the sea roared louder than thunder. The skies opened, and the stars vanished behind black clouds. Earthquakes split the temples, fires devoured the cities, and waves rose higher than mountains. Screams echoed through marble streets as Atlantis began to sink beneath its own glory. In moments, the shining island was swallowed by the ocean, its towers shattered, its knowledge lost to the abyss. Only silence remained, and the endless whisper of waves above the drowned empire. Centuries later, sailors spoke of strange lights beneath the sea and ruins glimpsed in the depths of the Atlantic. Some say Atlantis never vanished, that its spirit still lives, waiting to rise again when humanity remembers humility. Philosophers, explorers, and dreamers searched endlessly, from Plato's words to the ocean floor, chasing the shadow of perfection. Expeditions found clues, sunken structures, mysterious maps, and ancient symbols carved in forgotten stone. Was it memory or myth? Truth or timeless warning from a civilization that reached too high? The ocean guards its secrets well, deep currents hiding the story of a world that dared to rival the gods. Atlantis became more than a place. It became a mirror of ourselves, of creation, arrogance, and the cost of forgetting our place in nature. And so, the legend endures, not as a tale of ruin, but as a voice beneath the waves, reminding us that even the greatest civilizations can fall into silence. Leonardo da Vinci, born in 1452 in Vinci, Italy, was a man whose mind soared beyond his time. Painter, inventor, scientist, he bridged art and engineering in ways the world had never seen. His sketches reveal machines that would not exist for centuries, flying devices, intricate gears, and innovative war machines. In candlelit studios, Leonardo meticulously studied anatomy, observing muscles, bones, and the delicate flow of blood. The Mona Lisa's enigmatic smile conceals centuries of speculation and artistic genius. From the Alps to Florence, he wandered, sketching landscapes, experimenting with perspective, and capturing nature's secrets. Patrons sought his brilliance, yet he remained a man of curiosity, driven by questions more than commissions. Leonardo's notebooks contain codes, hidden diagrams, and unfinished ideas, puzzles waiting to be deciphered. Inventions of flight and hydraulics, weaponry and architecture, all conceived on parchment, awaiting realization. His observations of water, air, and the human body reveal a mind-seeking truth in every detail. Leonardo's creativity blurred the lines between science and magic, reality and imagination. Artists and engineers alike continue to marvel at his mastery, centuries after his death. The Vitruvian Man embodies his fascination with proportion, symmetry, and the harmony of the universe. Hidden messages and cryptic writings spark endless curiosity among scholars and enthusiasts. Every brushstroke and sketch carries the essence of a relentless pursuit of knowledge. Even in unfinished works, Leonardo's genius shines, challenging us to see the world differently. His legacy is a testament to human curiosity, ambition, and the desire to understand nature's secrets. From painting to engineering, anatomy to flight, Leonardo da Vinci's mind remains unmatched in its scope. The mysteries he left behind invite exploration, contemplation, and awe. Leonardo da Vinci, a visionary whose questions continue to inspire the world.